go. 1, 2, 3, go. Wanna see him free, so that's why we go. London, Heathrow, West Coast, East Coast, hit the city streets, bro. Claim God openly, cause everybody needs hope.
This put a smile on your face, don't it?
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your man B Wade here. I was thinking about one of the things that I love the most about high school and middle school were the fights. The fights were like so awesome. When you see all those people run up in the crowd and they be all these punches and jabs and uppercuts, it used to be awesome. The only thing better than were like high school and middle school fight were like end of the school year high school and middle school fights. Those things were like phenomenal because it was all that built up anger and tension and frustration for 8-9 months, and finally on the last day of school, those two people would get in the circle, get in the middle of all the arena of drama, and the fight would break out. People would start yelling, fight, 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 and all these people would just run up around, and just this huge crowd before them, this octagon of human people, this circle or oval of human people would form around and be like, fight, 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 and Sharika and Shanae would be in the middle, and they would just be like, yeah, super jabbing, yeah, elbow uppercut, pow, shoulder, roundhouse kick. They be grabbing, weaving, and stuff be flying, and all kinds of tracks all in the air. It was awesome fighting, and right before the security guard came, the person that was getting the best jabs in would normally grab that other person by the head and like run their face across the locker real quick, like doom, 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 and they hit them up real quick for security got them. And at the end of the fight, when you was on the bus, you be like, that John was the hottest fight I've ever seen in my life. Do you believe that? How she just came and man, I was right there. I got a piece of track on my eyelid when she threw the jump. I was right there. It's amazing to me how super those fights were. Those were the good days. As I was reading through the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 18, it talks about feet that are swift to evil. That God is not pleased with feet that are swift to run to evil, that God abhors it, that he's disgusted with feet that run to evil. It got me thinking about my days back in high school and in middle school when the fights would break out, how we would just run to those things. God says, I'm not pleased when you run to the evilness of life. He says, I'm not pleased when you take pleasure in people's dismay and misfortune. He says, I'm not pleased when our shows become the entertainment for our lives of people who are hurt and frustrated. When divorce court becomes our favorite programs to watch. When Maury Povich and Jerry Springer watching people act fools and display their life and display their hurts and their pains and their disappointments and their frustrations. And we run to it to watch it, to keep up on it. God says, I'm not pleased when we run to those things that are evil. He says, when we hear about people who are exposed and hurt and that's been put up on YouTube and we're one of the 14 million that view their misfortune, God says, I'm not pleased with people that run to evil. God says, if your enjoyment and my enjoyment and your entertainment and my entertainment is watching other people hurt and frustrated and abused and battered and confused and in total disarray and disgust, trapped in foolishness and hurt, and he says, if that's your enjoyment for life, he says, I'm disgusted with that. If you're running quickly to see other people's pains and problems, there's a heart issue. God lets us know that if you and I are going to be successful, if we're going to magnify God, if we're going to bless God, if we're going to be everything that God desires for us to be, we can't have feet that are swift to evil. We can't have hearts that love to take enjoyment out of people's pain and misery. If we find ourselves in a state where our entertainment and our focal point and our joy and what brings us to laughter is people's hurt, pains, and miseries, when it's evil things that are displeasing to God or the things that make us pleased, we need to check our hearts. That God says, I abhor, I am disgusted with people that run to evil, that embrace evil, that make it their source of entertainment and their source of enjoyment. I'm disgusted with it. And if it's your purpose and if it is your enjoyment, God's not pleased with it. We've got to ask God to change our hearts. Ask God to give us a system of values and concepts that are pleased with the things that he's pleased with. That our hearts burn and are turned towards him. That we don't view the arguments in the car of other people. That we don't sit there and take pleasure in the hurts and the pains and the misfortunes of others, but that we would have hearts that would cry for them, and hearts that would lead us to pray for them, and hearts that would lead us to say, God, even though they are hurt and broken, let us find ways to pray for them and uplift them, that they, Father, would know your truth, and that they, Father, would be successful. You know, the same kind of prayers you would want if you were in the middle of hurt, pain, and hardship, and evil foolishness. Yeah, the same thing that you would want. Someone not to run and laugh at your misfortune, but to encourage you and to embrace you and to love you and to tell you that you're going to be successful and that you're going to be all right. That God is going to be with you, and even though it hurts, there's still life beyond this. You would want someone to encourage you. So let your hearts be like God's hearts, running towards those things that please Him and uplift Him. That you would be encouragement to those who are weak. That you'd be an uplifter of those who are downtrodden. For those that are hurt, you would be the ones that bring the healing through your love and your kindness. It's your man, B. Wade. Let's not run to evil. Let's not make it our entertainment or our enjoyment anymore. I'll holla at you.
Here we go, 1, 2, 3, go. Wanna see him free, so that's why we go. London, Heathrow, West Coast, East Coast, hit the city streets, bro. Claim God openly, cause everybody needs hope.
One of the biggest problems that you and I have is when we get in trouble and frustration, the first person we call is our girlfriend, or we call our boy, and we start rapping. And we trying to figure out what we gonna do, son. Son, come on, let's talk real quick. Son, come over to our son. A lot of sons where I come from. And we go through this whole conversation of breaking it down, and boom, where we find ourselves. Chilling over somebody's house, frustrated and angry. Let's watch this, let's talk about this. And we find ourselves, slipping into a world of sin. That's generally the course that takes place. Instead of running and saying, hey dude, I got a situation. Let's pray. Let's talk. We don't have those people because we didn't do what we talked about last week. Getting rid of the folks that weren't going to help us out. And we didn't do what we talked about the week before that, which is connecting with other believers. And if we had did those things, then we would have had successful life changes. And when this problem comes up, or whatever the drama is, when we don't have any words for it, we can click back to our stuff and say, boom, I went through the list.
We want to see souls surrounding the King's throne, so we keep the talking to the people.